All right, everybody. Hello. This is James Carr, busted out of the quarantine studios in East Atlanta. We are here at Tapestry Garden, which is a garden managed by Fred Conrad and Flannery Pearson Clark. All of this produce is either donated or a part of the WIC program, so we're really excited to be out here today to show you guys what Fred and Flannery have been working on. This is also a site where we bring a lot of volunteers to support all the effort that goes into managing this space. So today we are going to get a little bit of a tour from Flannery. She's going to correct any of the mistakes that I just made describing this garden and maybe ask a few questions about what's actually happening in the field. So I'm going to turn things around and be the cameraman for today's episode. We will be following around Flannery, and she's going to teach us a bit about the garden and what's growing here. So I'm going to turn the camera around, and we're going to say hi to our good friend Flannery. Wait.
Did you have it turned around?
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was, but I didn't.
Oh, here's Flannery again. All right. What a really well-planned intro. Clearly, this is our first time doing this out here. So, here's Flannery. We're here at Tapestry, and the tour will begin now. Brittany, I'm glad we could entertain you, because that is really what this is all about. Hey, Kia, good to see you as well. All right, I'm going to shut up now. Here is Flannery.
Cool. Hey guys. Thank you for meeting me out here at Tapestry today. You just missed our intern, Nicole, but shout out. She's been harvesting cucumbers and helping weed all morning. So, like James said, this is Tapestry, and one important distinction to make is that most of the time when Foodwell is out supporting gardens, we're supporting gardens that are community run. So community members who live there are growing the food, they're getting the work done, they're making it happen. And so this is the one garden that our program actually manages on our own, with the help of like hundreds of volunteers every year. So Tapestry is a really cool space. I believe it's been in use for about 10 years as a garden space. Fred has been working out here significantly longer than I have. So the land that we work on is owned by the community. They bought it to protect it, and then they lease 1.5 acres of the total property to us in order to grow. So when we're working at Tapestry, we get to interact with a lot of community members, which is wonderful, but we also just get to be in this beautiful natural space in the middle of Ormwood Park. So we really appreciate that. Yeah, so like James was saying, the food that we grow here is intended to get out to other folks. It gets donated. Historically, we brought it back to the food bank, since we were located and working with the food bank. But moving forward, we're going to kind of adapt to figure out how we can get that to folks who most need it. And then in the past, we've also used it to support farmers market programs that helped make produce affordable. So it is the WIC Farmers Market Program, the Senior WIC Program, and then also the Fruit and Veggie Prescription Program, which is a collaboration with Grady and the East Point Farmers Market. And there's probably a lot more to that. So yeah, so this is our space, and I guess we'll show you guys around.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Okay, so we have kind of 3 main sections to the garden, so we're just going to focus on one. We grow pretty much the same crops in each of the 3 sections, but spread it out so that if anything were to happen, we'd still have stuff coming in other sections. So this section we call the pines for obvious reasons.
Pine trees.
The pine trees have gotten a lot bigger even since I have started here. So that's always interesting to work around, but we were able to expand it a little bit more this year, and I'll show you that.
Sweet.
Cool. So we plant directly in ground. We try to trellis or cage anything that needs the support. So we have some cucumber babies over here. And the only crop that we've harvested out of here so far this summer are some cucumbers. So that's been pretty exciting. We also had sugar snap peas. So we've got rows of cucumbers. We always plant only one crop in each individual row so that when we work with volunteers, we're able to easily kind of point them in the right direction and train them on how to work it. It also makes it easier for us when we've been out in the sun too long to remember what we're harvesting and doing here. Cukes. Let's see. So we have some tomatoes over here. This year we got a variety of different tomatoes. So some of them are heirloom, some of them are a little bit more like beef sticky tomatoes, bigger guys. And I'm pretty sure that there are 1 or 2 tomatillos that accidentally snuck in here. So we're constantly on a quest for those. Let's see. Over here, we have a bunch of squash growing. But we also normally in like October of every year get a big donation of leftover pumpkins. So I guess that's November. But we get a big donation of leftover pumpkins. We put them in the soil, we smash them up, we cover them, we let them break down, put nutrients into the soil, and then we plant in the spring. So we normally get like some really nice spontaneous volunteer pumpkins that come up, which is always fun.
Wow.
Yes.
So you guys are getting leftover pumpkins and essentially using that to compost the whole area over winter?
Yeah, we'll normally, with the amount we get, are able to do like 3 or 4 rows every year.
Okay.
It's not going to like do the whole thing, but we put it underground so they're not attracting pests and stuff.
Huh.
It's pretty fun, and this year the botanical garden was able to donate some of their leftover pumpkins, so we got some really cool varieties. So I'm excited to see if any of those make this year.
Very interesting. All right, so these are squash plants, right? These aren't volunteer pumpkins.
You know, they're a combination because pumpkins are squash.
Right.
So the really tricky part is figuring it out. I would say these really large ones are most likely pumpkins because they got a little bit of a head start, and a lot of the smaller ones are probably the more recently planted squash.
That makes sense.
That's my hypothesis, but I'm not pulling any of them until I see evidence.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so speaking of wonderful viney friends, we've got sweet potatoes over here.
Sweet!
Super sweet. I can't be the only orange thing in the garden. So sweet potatoes, they have those nice little heart-shaped leaves, which is good because they're one of the best loved plants here for me. So yeah, we grow sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are a tropical plant. So we put them in, early May, late April, and then they stay in until about October. Through the entire warm season to grow. And Georgia is one of like the few states or low enough states that you're actually able to grow sweet potatoes because they have a hot enough growing period. These are actual potatoes, but you can't tell because they're currently covered in weeds.
Oh no, there's potatoes in here?
There's potatoes in there.
Oh man.
I kid you not.
Wow. Oh yeah, yep,
But
sure
they're
enough.
close enough to harvest that it doesn't make sense to like...
Just go all in there?
Yeah, so we're here. I'm hoping, though, that the weeds will keep any of the potatoes that are starting to poke up from the top from getting sun damage. So it actually could be a win-win situation.
So what if the potato sort of peaks up a bit too early? What is the type of sun damage that can occur?
You'll normally get greening, I think, if it gets too much sun damage. So
Okay.
you'll start to see, the potato turning green on top. But it also, like normally if your potatoes are starting to come up, just put a little bit of mulch on top. Or cover them back up with soil if your soil's loose enough.
Cool. And these are some more beans?
These
Bush
are some
beans?
beans. There's a combination of pole and bush beans.
Really? Huh.
We got a really nice donation of assorted beans, and we utilize those.
Oh, there you go.
They're nature's M&Ms.
Nature's M&Ms.
Okay, cool. So, one of the tasks that we've been working on for the past couple of weeks is making sure that all of our plants that need to be trellised are latching onto the trellises and growing up. That's especially important if it's going to rain a lot, because if they're sitting on the ground, they're going to rot, but also just important in general. So yeah, more cucumbers growing in here.
They're climbing, that's for sure.
They have... How much of a detail can you get of their little tendrils? Because they're freaking amazing.
Pretty close, yeah. You can get all up in there. And you can see and then look here, you can see some baby cukes. Tiny babies.
Yeah, it's pretty cool the way that they'll latch on and their tendrils feel so delicate, but they're able to support like this hefty plant growing cucumbers and hold them up there.
Right here.
Yes. We've got some evidence of pests over here, so we should probably be watching out for...
Is this like a squash bug?
Most likely, or some other little nibblers. I'm honestly not good enough identifying damage to know what would be eating this, but squash bugs do like to nibble on your cucumbers. Last year we got a bunch of pickle worms, which mine their way into your cucumbers, and then you harvest them thinking they're all good, and then they turn out to be like super funky on the inside. So these are peppers. Now that it finally got warm outside, they are finally starting to grow.
Are you guys going to trellis your peppers, or do you just let them hang out?
We normally let them hang out, and then we'll throw a garden stake in kind of near them if they're getting real floppy when they're producing. But generally, just because of resources we have, we don't trellis them.
Oh, I see. Whoa, yeah, I'm sure you're going to tell me whatever these are.
Oh, have you never seen these before?
No.
Okay. Well, these are my personal favorite. They are stinkhorn fungi.
Stinkhorn fungi right here.
Carrots, common misconception. So stinkhorn fungi decompose wood chips. But the really cool thing about them, so they've got this like nice gooey stuff on them. So they use that. It smells not great. And they use it to attract flies, which is how they spread their spores.
Wow.
So you'll see they also, like, when they're immature, they have these little white kind of round balls that are underground. So a lot of times when we're weeding, we'll find them, and they're really cool. Anyways, yes, you might see them in your garden. They are not bad for your garden. You can leave them in. They're just decomposing.
Yeah, just decomposing over here.
Just hanging out, just doing what they do.
Got some peps coming in here.
Some peps. And now that James has touched those peps, he won't touch his face.
Oh, these hot peppers?
Yeah.
Oh. There you go. Thanks.
Cool.
Shouldn't be touching my face these days anyway.
That's just true. Honestly, the peppers are probably the least of it. Cool. So this is our new section. The community just let us expand, so we're able to get a little bit more sunlight.
Oh, okay.
So the Fearless Spread came out here and tilled it all up and spread out some compost. And so we put in, I mean, most of what we're growing in the rest of the garden, peppers and beans, but also some buckwheat, which is a cover crop that you'd use to kind of help, one, keep the weeds out as a placeholder, but two, for soil health. They also have really cute heart-shaped leaves.
Moss peps.
Some nice looking peps. Yeah. Trying to see. Ooh, okay. We should carefully walk back here. We'll go check out our friendly neighborhood cardoon.
I was going to ask if that was a cardoon because I just planted one, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. So yeah, these are cardoons.
Cardoons.
There, remember?
Chef Zoo is actually in the chat somewhere, and he gave me my cardoon. So thank you to Chef Zoo of King's Apron. Mine is a lot smaller than this right now, but one day it'll get there.
Yeah, they're super beautiful plants, artichoke family. Very vibrant purple flowers when they bloom, and then they spread their seeds and plant other cardoons in your garden.
Okay, so this
you don't leave them unchecked.
Got it. So this is technically an annual that kind of will come back if you let it?
Yes, I actually think, don't quote me on this, let's look it up later, but I think it's a biennial, which means that it takes 2 years in order for it to, really reproduce, but I need to look that up. I looked it up a while back. Anyways.
Unverified facts.
Unverified facts by Plumber. That's this whole show. Oh wait, we have some green tomatoes coming in over here. So again, tomato plants, lots of different varieties. We've got some little tomato babies popping in over here.
Oh yeah,
You can
there
see
we
some
go.
really pretty tomato flowers.
Cool.
One of my favorite things about gardening with all these different things is being able to compare like plant structures and anatomy. And all of the, I know that's nerdy, I'm sorry, it's also fun to grow the food and play in the dirt. But seeing like all the different flowers and stuff for peppers and potatoes and tomatoes and how they're all related and have similar flowers is always really cool to me. Even though what we take from them is very different.
So will you, for example, right here, like, if I were me, I would be inclined to slip this in and under there. Is that something that y'all worry about? Just so that it stays inside, like it's busting out?
Yes, definitely. Or if it's already really fairly rigid, I might just kind of tie it loosely on there so it's not like dripping into the row. My biggest concern would be things laying on the ground or
Yeah.
like when we use power tools to weed or just random volunteers.
So once they kind of get up to a certain height, you're not as worried about them?
Yeah, I mean, if we catch it, definitely.
Yeah.
And if you have like 1 or 2 tomato plants and can monitor that,
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, I think that's our tomato life happening over there.
Mulch life.
Mulch pile.
Shout out to Bobby Farmer.
And let's see, I guess other quick things. We have some beans growing over here. Let's see.
What do we have going on over here? Is this more buckwheat?
Yeah, that's buckwheat.
Buckwheat.
Really cute little white delicate flowers and the heart-shaped leaves.
Yeah.
Always a great crop.
Some kale over there?
Got some kale. That kale has done surprisingly well. So one of the benefits of having these pine trees get a lot taller is that we're able to grow some of the leafy greens into the summer without having to worry about them as much.
Yeah.
So yeah, the kale babies are thriving over here.
Some kale. Alrighty.
Yeah, and then this row, I'm pretty sure is okra. It's either okra or roselle, or maybe a combination of both, but that was a Fred planting. Oh. Yeah.
Well, time will tell. Alright. Well, Flannery, thank you so much for this garden tour. Really appreciated all the insight and all the hard work that you're doing. What's up, Jamie? Nice to see you. We are going to wrap up this tour here. Appreciate everyone who's been tuning in. This was a little bit of an experimental run, but we were excited to be able to get back outside and may consider doing some more garden tours in the future. If you do have any gardening, let me just get you off camera so you don't have to feel as awkward.
I always feel that awkward.
Yeah, this is the problem with... All right, here. We're going to just go for it.
Okay, you're
Is
on
it-
it this time.
Okay, so thanks everyone who's been tuning in. We're going to continue doing, or we may continue doing some more garden tours, but if you have any gardening questions, we definitely want to help you answer them. We thought that this way we could kind of do a bit of a tour and maybe just learn some insights, so we're hopeful that was helpful, and if it was, we'll certainly continue. But thanks everyone for checking in and leaving your comments, especially Brittany for laughing at us half the time. And we will be back next Monday in one format or another, so if you have any gardening questions you want us to answer, feel free to send us a direct message or email us at gardens at foodwellalliance.org. You can also find a button to submit your questions on our website as well. So for Flannery Pearson Clark and the Community Garden team, I'm James Carr. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.